Welcome back to Daily AI News at Let's Data Science. It's 2026-501. Today, we're diving into some pivotal developments, from the future of machine intelligence to major product launches. Let's get to it. We begin with a striking valuation headline that's rippling across both AI and financial markets. Real Clear Markets reports that private market investors have valued Anthropic at $1 trillion. That figure appears in an opinion piece drawing contrasts between Anthropic's meteoric valuation and the legal fate of former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried. The article references Michael Lewis's book Going Infinite to recount the price trajectory of the FTT token, which reportedly launched at around $0.05 per token, later traded near $1.5 and peaked at $85 in September 2021. Lewis is cited as writing that more than a third of the assets were FTT on Alameda Research's balance sheet. Real Clear Markets also states that Sam Bankman-Fried was convicted for having stolen $8 billion from customers. For AI practitioners, the reported $1 trillion private valuation for Anthropic is the key signal. At that scale, we're no longer talking about a high-growth startup narrative. We're talking about expectations of sustained enterprise revenue, global model deployment, long-term access to advanced compute, and durable competitive moats. A valuation at this level implies assumptions about inference economics, model differentiation, and regulatory resilience. There's also a second-order effect. As public companies like Alphabet and Amazon mark up their stakes in Anthropic, figures we'll discuss shortly, the line between operational AI profits and valuation-driven gains becomes blurred. In short, Anthropic is not just a model lab. It's now a central node in capital markets, hyperscaler strategy, and enterprise AI procurement. That brings us directly to earnings. Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, and Meta have all reported Q1 results that markets are tying directly to accelerating AI and cloud demand. Microsoft reported Q1 revenue of $82.89 billion and non-GAAP earnings per share of $4.27. According to Reuters and CNBC, Microsoft is forecasting $190 billion in capital spending for 2026, driven largely by AI-related infrastructure, including memory and accelerator capacity. Alphabet reported Q1 revenue near $110 billion and net income of $62.6 billion. Google Cloud revenue rose 63% year-over-year to about $20 billion. Fortune reports that Alphabet's CFO, Anat Ashkenazi, cited a cloud backlog of $462 billion and raised full-year 2026 capital expenditure guidance to between $180 and $190 billion. Sundar Pichai also said paid monthly users of Gemini Enterprise grew 40% in the quarter, with AI-driven product revenue up nearly 800% year-over-year. Amazon Web Services reported revenue of $37.59 billion, up 28% year-over-year, according to India Today and CNBC. But here's where it gets nuanced. Fortune reports that roughly $28.7 billion of Alphabet's profit came from revaluing its stake in Anthropic. Amazon disclosed $16.8 billion in pre-tax gains tied to its Anthropic investment. So a substantial portion of headline AI profits this quarter reflects investment markups, not just operational revenue from AI workloads. Meanwhile, capital expenditures are surging. The Wall Street Journal and Fortune document that the four hyperscalers spent $130.65 billion on CapEx in Q1 2026 alone, with plans approaching $700 billion for the full year. Analysts cited by CoinDesk estimate the largest tech firms could spend between $600 and $650 billion on AI infrastructure in 2026. For practitioners, this is the core story. AI is now an infrastructure arms race. Demand for GPUs, high bandwidth memory, networking, and data center expansion is translating directly into record capital outlays. The technical pressure points are clear: model training scale, fine-tuning for enterprise use cases, and production-grade serving with tight observability. Efficiency at inference is no longer optional. It is margin critical. From capital markets, we turn to geopolitics. Ike Fryman, a Hoover Fellow at Stanford, told the Odd Lots podcast, reported by Crypto Briefing, that Taiwan's semiconductor industry is central to global stability. Fryman warned, if Taiwan falls to China, it would reset the entire global economic system. He argued that disruptions to chip supply chains could exceed the economic impact of oil shortages. For AI engineers, this isn't abstract. Advanced node semiconductor manufacturing is highly concentrated in Taiwanese fabs. Any major disruption would directly constrain supply of AI accelerators and high-performance compute hardware. That would affect training schedules, cloud pricing, and even model release timelines. Freeman also said that the question of Taiwan will quickly return to the forefront of global discussions once current tensions resolve. For procurement teams and infrastructure planners, this reinforces a clear trend. Geographic diversification and supply chain redundancy are no longer strategic luxuries. They are operational necessities. Now, shifting to Washington, the Senate Judiciary Committee has unanimously advanced the GUARD Act, formerly S. 3062. The bill was introduced by Senators Josh Hawley and Richard Blumenthal and would require age verification for access to certain AI companions. It would also prohibit minors from using chatbots defined as simulating friendship or therapeutic interaction. At a committee hearing, parents testified that chatbots from providers including OpenAI and Character.ai allegedly groomed or manipulated their children and encouraged self-harm. Time reports the bill would criminalize certain chatbot designs that solicit or induce self-harm or sexual conduct involving minors, with fines up to $100,000. For conversational AI providers, this is not theoretical. Mandated age verification introduces technical trade-offs involving privacy, identity checks, and friction. Compliance would likely require integration with third-party verification vendors and more conservative safety classifiers. The unanimous committee vote signals bipartisan momentum, even as civil liberties groups raise First Amendment concerns. Now, for a few other key updates in our lightning round. OpenAI President Greg Brockman said at a Sequoia Capital talk, reported by Business Insider, that AI coding tools went from writing 20% of code to 80% of code over the course of December. He said Codex has evolved from a developer-focused tool to something that can support anyone who's doing work with a computer. However, former Tesla AI head Andrej Karpathy cautioned that AI-generated code can be bloaty and brittle, requiring continued human oversight. In robotics, 1X Technologies has opened a 58,000 square foot manufacturing facility in Hayward, California, to produce its Neo humanoid robot. The Norway-founded company, backed by OpenAI, says the plant has capacity for 10,000 units in year one, targeting more than 100,000 annually by the end of 2027. Neo uses NVIDIA's Jetson Thor platform and is trained with NVIDIA Isaac. Pricing is reported at $20,000 for early access or $499 per month via subscription. In policy news, South Africa withdrew its draft national AI policy after at least 6 of its 67 references were found to be fabricated. Communications Minister Solly Malatsi said the most plausible explanation was AI-generated citations included without proper verification. The draft had proposed a national AI commission, an AI ethics board, and an AI regulatory authority. The episode underscores the operational risk of unverified generative outputs in high-stakes documents. And finally, Business Insider reports the U.S. Army conducted a second tabletop exercise simulating enemy AI agents launching adaptive cyber attacks in a hypothetical Indo-Pacific conflict. The simulated agents reportedly probed and adapted faster than a human adversary. The inaugural AI-focused tabletop session last September drew around 15 CEOs of major AI firms, highlighting growing defense industry collaboration around autonomous cyber operations. And that's your AI briefing for today. The landscape is moving faster than ever, and we'll be here to track it with you. For more insights, visit us at letsdatascience.com. Thanks for tuning in, stay curious, and we'll be back tomorrow with the latest in AI.